going to start the install of the headliner for our 74 Karmann Ghia convertible today. I want to mention that the instructions I'm using come from the Samba.com, and Vince, who's down in Florida and has done a number of tops, was nice enough to completely document this process. I think he did a 71 convertible, took photos and did a write-up. So I figured I would do a little video series on installing the top to sort of supplement what he's done. I'm in no way an expert. I'm just a particular guy, and I'll take my time and do everything like that. So we're going to get started today by marking center marks on both our front glass and back glass here, and then we're going to start attaching the headliner and then move forward from there. So hopefully if anybody's doing a convertible top on a Karmann Ghia, this will help them out to actually see it sort of come together in front of your eyes. I'm measuring between the center locating pins, and I'm going to put a centering mark there, hopefully. I wish I had another set of hands. Right there. What I did on the center line here is I took our squirter and just centered up a piece of string on there, came up to here where I had measured my center mark, and just kind of eyeballed it to make sure, you know, from the nose of the car looking down. In fact, we can do that. So sort of take that line and just make sure it's straight. You know, you kind of got to bend down and get on it, and you know, all these other things, and marked a line there and then taped it there. Then brought the string over the car, and back here on the deck lid, you know, we've got our sort of center mark here, even though both of these quarter panels have been replaced, so I'm not sure if this mark is left or right. And what I found out is actually this deck lid is off just a little bit, so the tape had to move just a little bit to the left. You can see we're not quite centered. And then came down our little snap here and centered up on our snap for our rear bow, so we're centered up in there. Made a mark on the glass, and then I also made a mark down here on the, I'm calling this the apron, but that's probably not the right word. It's probably the rear cowl is what it really is, the centering mark there. I know we're going to need that a lot later, but I figured while we had the string out, we'd just go ahead and mark it. So I'm going to take the string off now, and we'll just leave our marks in place. The next operation here is to mark the center of the headliner. So the easiest way to do this on any fabric is to just fold it in half, and then that gives you the center line. I marked it here with my pencil. I marked it both sides. I don't know if I'll need it marked on both sides, but that's what I did. So we can now line that up with the center mark on our header bow. I just got back from Lowe's and Walmart, and I wanted to show you guys a couple things. I have a little baggie here full of all the convertible parts and pieces. These are the original German finish washers. They call them closed back finish washers. And since they have the little tabs on the back, they don't cut through the fabric. Well, I did want some stainless ones, and at Lowe's I found both number 8s and number 6s. These appeared to be the closest thing I could find to the original German metric ones. These were not stainless as far as I know. But what I did was take some of the original hardware, which is these guys here, and then this is some of the new hardware right here from Karmann Ghia Parts and Restoration, and this guy too. I matched them up as close as possible, again with a number 6. It was the only one I got was number 6s. I thought I got 2 different lengths. Oh, there we go. Number 6, 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. So we'll see if we can make those work. I got some 3/8 inch heavy duty staples, some 1 inch elastic. I should hold it like that so you can read it. 1 inch elastic. Some sewing needles because I broke about 3 needles here in the last week. I also got some tacks, and I need to put those on the strapping, the webbing. And I got some epoxy because these finish washers are open backed, and I'm going to just fill them up with epoxy and see if that helps. I'm putting in my tacks here that I didn't have when I actually put these on. I'm stapling the extra strip of fabric that you get up here to the back edge of the wood bow, and you want it so the good face is facing the rear of the car as you do this. The main headliner comes in over the top of this, so this just finishes off the little bit of the edge that the actual convertible top shell does not cover. I left about an inch of extra fabric over there on the other side because I think that's about what it'll take to finish this off, so we'll cut it right here and then we'll use these other strips to cover up our little dudes here. We're going to take a look just real quick. This is an original header bow, and this is the white perforated vinyl right here. So this is the edge that we were just stapling, and they actually put their staples really close together, so I may go back and put a few more in. But that's as far as it goes down, so somewhere on the range of probably 2 inches or so, something like that. I'm going to measure it and do it up, but then you can see where the actual convertible top came into play right there. I think this was just an extra strip that they added, this black piece. So anyway, it doesn't go all the way to the back of the convertible top bow, and these are the other pieces of the bow, so you can see, we can kind of put those together probably. There we go, and this guy, yeah, comes in like that. So there's the whole bow as one piece. We flip it over, and that's sort of the break point there where my thumb is. So it goes maybe a little over halfway toward the break point there. This is an OEM top right here. This is the original equipment. That seam right there goes on the front of the header bow where the convertible top meets the windshield. So these are where the guide pins come through, and this is a little pocket here for the bow to go into. So just taking a look at how that is, that sort of covers up the edge where it rounds the corner there. And just for grins here, oh man, sorry, you're going to be a hand top camera there. We're going to measure that distance right there, and looks like we're about 2 inches back from the guide pin. We should be safe. So if I bring this up maybe an inch from the guide pin, I think that seam will be nice and covered up. There's our mark at an inch. So I'm just going to staple us right here along that leading edge, I think, or real close to that leading edge, maybe just on the bottom side. Gave the car a little plastic wrap here. We sprayed some of our 3M high strength. This is the 90, not the 77. Right there. 90. It's available at Lowe's. It's about $11 a can. It's not cheap, but this stuff has the ability to stick through high temperature. The 77 will give up sometimes at high temperatures. So we masked off the car, sprayed this guy, and then both of these strips. They gave me one wide strip. I cut it in half because I wanted some thickness here, because that's what seals against the windshield deal up there. Front bow of the windshield, the front whatever frame of the windshield. So we're going to glue on the bottom one first, and then we'll give it a squirt on the other side, and then we'll glue the other piece to the top of that. This is 3/4 inch weather stripping tape, and I put a little pad of it here and one on the other side for anti-rattle. They're still going to make a little noise apparently, but hopefully it'll cushion just the general ride down the road. Okay, we're going to take a quick look. This thing finally just got what I'm calling sweet. It took probably half an hour or 45 minutes of adjusting and reclamping and pulling and stretching and all of this kind of stuff to get this thing nice and tight and even everywhere. You can see this strip down the middle. That was where they folded it when they sent it to me. So I'm going to take the iron to it and just steam it, and I think that'll come out. But basically what I did is you start here on the main bow and you get everything clamped in fairly tight. You know, you want to bring this seam, you know, the fabric is, there's a piece on this side, there's a piece on that side, and there's a seam right here. That seam pretty much sits on the front edge of this bow. So you bring that seam up and then use your clamps or whatever you do. These are nice because they fit in real tight. But I used clamps and I just slowly brought it up. You can see one spot down there where it's a little bit loose. It's just because I don't have enough clamps. And we'll fix that. And then so we bring this up. Then I took my centering mark up here and I lined it up with the center of the headliner and put a tack in there. Then I started pulling up on this guy. Then I clamped the back end here. So this is the rear bow. Clamped all that in place. I had to take off my chrome latch, but we clamped all that, got these lines fairly straight. You know, that's the nice thing about tweed. It's almost like working with grid paper. So I got them straight, and you know, they have a little sag in them, but as we staple, we'll pull that sag out. Everything will line right up. Then we pull this tight. Then I put these on the sides. Then we pulled this, adjust, pull, pull, pull. This thing is floating just a little bit, but you know what? That's what made this really sweet, was to let it float just a tick. There's going to be some elastic that's going to go from here to here that's going to want to pull this back, so I wanted to make sure that it was tight so that when you close the top it would want to pull that elastic forward. So I think that's the spot for it. We'll find out. If it's not, we'll adjust. So there it is. I've got to do, the next thing we're going to do is attach this to the inside here, both sides, and that'll tell us if we're fully lined up. But as you can see, you know, all the wrinkles are pretty much out of this thing, both sides. It was a little bit of a fight. I see just a little wrinkle over there. Like I said, we got just a little loose. So we'll straighten that up, and then we'll start actually gluing this in place. We're now going to sew in a couple support loops, one here at the intermediate bow and one here at the main bow. So it'll just make sure that everything stays tight, really. Got our 5-minute epoxy going here. In these little guys I used a piece of heat shrink down the center of there so the glue wouldn't spill out of the finish washer onto the other side. And it's a 5-minute epoxy. It's been sitting about 3 minutes and it's getting really sticky, so I'm quitting screwing with it. And in about 10 minutes we're going to pull these little dudes out and hopefully it'll set up just like that. We're going to put this little guy on now, so that's got to sort of stretch into place, and we're going to put this epoxy backed washer in there with a new screw. So that's going to go right in the corner there. Next thing we have is this string back here. I think some tops don't come with this, but basically you just have to cut a little hole here, and then in this seam you just run a string. This one from TMI did have the string, so what we're going to do is pull it tight from both ways, and then if I can move this out of the way, then we're going to give it a staple like that. In the interest of full disclosure, which my YouTube channel is always full disclosure of all mistakes that get made, I had this running on this side of the strap, so this is the outside of the car, and it should have been running on this side so that it pulls everything, you know, this seam this way. So there you go. Sorry, I forgot to hit the record button. Went ahead and stapled this on to the rear bow back here, so we're at the back of the car, and reattached our chrome latch for the rear window. So that should be all operational now. I'm going to check everything before I cut, and basically what I need to do is trim up this front edge here and this rear piece here. Alright, up we go. A little too far up. You gotta leave just a little bit of room for some elastic to go down in there. I measured 3.5 inches inboard from the edge of the webbing here, and then another 1.25 inches over. So I made a mark of 3.5 and then 4 3/4. I've got 1 inch elastic that's going to go in there. So we're going to make a cut here. We want to make sure that we do not go through the headliner on the inside. We've got to stay to the outside of that seam. In fact, I'm going to lift that up just so I make sure. This one makes me really nervous, guys. So there we go. We fed our elastic through there, and we'll just get it stitched up and probably put just a little tension there so that it does its job to pull. Okay, we are in the back of the car now. There's the windshield coming around the back. So that's our wheel well right there. There's 2 spike tabs, and then we have a piece of elastic down here. So we're going to pull this back, and we're going to hook it on that spike tab. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to pull this back, hook it on that spike tab, and then bend the tab backwards slightly. There's another one here. We're going to do both of them. That should get us nice and tight right there. We're looking for a straight line down there. And then there's a little hole down here where my finger is. Sorry, it's really dark in here, guys. There's a little hole down there. We got another chrome screw and washer, and that's going to tie this elastic down. That's going to hold us all tight. I cannot hold the camera and do this at the same time, so I'll come back. There's one side. There's the other. Oh my goodness, it's dark in here. We got our little chrome screws in, and we'll just take a quick look around the interior here. Oh, man, that thing just looks absolutely beautiful. I wish I had more light in here to show you. Just everything about it is phenomenal. TMI did do a fantastic job in the manufacture of the top here. Let's take another quick look at the outside here. You can see we got it all stretched. All those little lumps came out. We got a little tension in that guy. It's just, I mean, just perfect. And I'm not bragging. I'm just I'm saying the manufacturer of this thing is top notch. The fit is phenomenal, considering that this car was in a really bad rear ender. Both quarter panels were cut off. The engine compartment completely trashed. The pillar on the other side was twisted. The frame here was a little bit tweaked. This is a brand new bow here. We had to do a lot of work fitting this front bow. This car underwent a lot to get it straight enough to make this happen. We put this on, and just phenomenal fit, guys. So the next part will be the padding, and actually we'll trim all this stuff up, but I'm still nervous that something isn't going to fit right, so I'm waiting until the top gets here and then we'll address those. But the next part will be the padding up here, the padding back here, and we'll have it all ready for the convertible top install. I can't stress how handy these guys come in. I've got them in the large one and the medium one and the small one, and I'd say if you're going to do this job, probably have a dozen of these large ones, have a dozen of these medium ones, and just have a few of these around. I think they sell them by 12s and 20s, things like that. So not very expensive. You could maybe even steal them from your office and take them back after you're done. I just wanted to let everybody know that 100% of the credit for this video goes to Vince on the Samba for his, I hope I'm not covering up the sound here. The credit goes to Vince on the Samba for his write-up. 100% of this is off of his write-up for how to install a convertible top. I don't know how to do this. This is my first one. I'm not an expert. I'm not a upholsterer. I'm not anything. I'm just a guy who read the Samba and Vince's post on how to put on a convertible top. So thank you, Vince, from the bottom of my heart. The credit for this video goes to him. So hopefully you'll join me for the rest of the install. That'll be happening here in the next couple weeks. Don't let your meatloaf, guys.